Greetings, everyone. Greetings, everyone. It's your girl, Adina, the goddess of magical movement, with the with the Goddess Technology Podcast, formerly known as the Liberated Pussy Podcast. We are now in our third season, and this is the third episode of the Goddess Technology Podcast. We have an amazing conversation for you today called From Shame to Liberation, Embracing Sacred Sexuality and Pussy Power with the amazing Lady Shepsa. So Lady Shepsa is preparing to come to our stage, and here we go. Before we get started, I want to invite all who are listening, and if this experience calls to you, embark upon a sacred journey with the Goddess Technology Retreat in Bali. We're now booking. Join us from August 2nd through August 9th, 2025 for an unforgettable experience designed exclusively for the divine feminine. Nestled in the lush, tranquil landscape of Bali, this retreat is your sanctuary, a place to draw within, nourish your soul's deepest yearning. Join a circle of like-minded women on this sacred path where ancient wisdom meets modern technology. We are the technology to elevate the divine feminine energy. Reserve your space today and step into the world where you can truly live, rest, rejuvenate, and become. If you're interested, please do visit our website, bit.ly at Let's Talk About Bali, bit.ly/Let's Talk About Bali. Look forward to having you. And now, no further ado, I am calling in my sacred guest, who is Lady Shepsa. Lady Shepsa, welcome, girl.
Greetings. Hello.
Goddess, how are you?
To be here.
It is so nice to see your beautiful face.
Nice to see you too, Goddess.
Yes. Lady Shepsa is my sister from another mother and another father, but we are sisters in this work of the divine feminine and awakening first ourselves and then sharing that journey with all who it resonates for and with and through.
Ashe. Yes. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to talk to you on, what is this, Tuesday night? Tantalizing Tuesday.
Darling, we're tantalizing.
We're gonna, tantalizing. We're gonna talk. So thank you so much, Goddess Adina. I love you. I love all that you do, all that you represent. So happy to talk to you this evening.
So to you, I say Shri Matre Namaha, which is greetings from the great goddess. Okay, from one goddess to another, we just giving big ups. Lady Shepsa did a wonderful, I would say, a round table of goddesses about 2 weeks ago, maybe a week ago. We finished goddesses from all over the world and awakening the Black goddess awakening. Talk a little bit. Well, first, I want to talk about that. And it was an honor for me to be a presenter in that for you. It was a really fun conversation. And I really enjoyed listening to the group of beautiful women you curated and all their experiences. But before we go into that, so I'm saying thank you for having me in that circle. Tell the people a little bit about you and your journey. I know you're from Philly. You shared your journey with us in your master class about how you moved from being one way and then how you moved to being another way of being an embodied goddess, understanding who you are and what your power is. Just share a little of your background.
Woo! All right. So it's so funny because on the other week I was on the other side asking people this question, and now I get to answer the question.
Yes.
Thank you. So my journey starts with me. As you mentioned, I'm from Philadelphia. I grew up, like I like to say, Southwest Philadelphia, born and raised. in the hood, little Black girl, to a single mom of 3 children. And growing up in Philadelphia in the time that I grew up in the 80s, just think about like crack epidemic, right? Think about all the things that were plaguing the Black community at that time. I remember being in elementary school, like literally picking up crack vials in the schoolyard to give them to our assistant principal. And my mother was a single mom. She worked very hard. She was our main provider. My father was there, but financial provision wasn't so consistent.
What was your birth order? Were you the oldest?
Oldest daughter.
Okay.
I recently learned that means something.
That means something. Yeah.
So, second born, oldest daughter. I have an older brother and a younger sister, and middle child.
Middle child. Okay.
So my father struggled with drugs. My parents were divorced. So I made it in my mind that, listen, growing, I don't want to stress my mama out, because my mama, when she stressed out, she cussed, she got a lot of pressure on her. So I'm going to make good choices. I'm going to be the good girl so I don't stress my mama out. My brother, boys are different. He had struggles, and, academically he struggled, a bit. I'm sure the household trauma and drama contributing to some of that. My father kind of not being so consistent at the beginning. So I was like, I'm going to be the star student. I'm going to get good grades. So I was on the honor roll. As my father, matured later in life and, got off drugs for a bit, he was in church. So then I started going to church with my father. So, I was a prototypical good girl, right? The nice girl. I was an honor roll student. I was a church girl. I was the one who would open her Bible and read it in the morning before going to school. I'm a Pisces, so I've always been spiritual. So I'm always attracted to spirituality and very devout. So on the other hand of that, right, when you have the good girl complex, what happens is a lot of suppression, right? Suppress a lot of your authentic wants and desires, and you become a people pleaser. So that is what I became. So for me, and then following religion, what did the Bible say? The Bible said, no sex before. You a good girl. What you do? You keep your legs closed. No sex before marriage. Close them legs. Be in your books. And I think also as Black women, when you want to progress in society, and you're coming from, our communities, that there's a different standard that we have to adhere to, right? Like we are pushed to excel. So that's what I did. I excelled academically, and religiously, was very focused. But something started to happen, as I went through college, as I left college, and I was a virgin. I was a virgin until basically I had my first boyfriend at 21, 22 years old. And then I wound up marrying this man, right? And at that time, I had left religion. I wasn't Christian anymore, but I was what I call the Afrocentric nun. This is my Afrocentric. Right? So I was wearing the long skirts, head wraps, and nothing wrong with that. I still dress like that sometimes too. That's all good too. And as you know, we share a similar spiritual background. I was in a Sarah. So at that time, I was very devout with that because I'm just a devout spiritual person. But when I got married and after I had my son, I noticed that I was extremely miserable. I was very, and I realized that I had done everything society said you're supposed to do as a Black woman. I went to the good college. I was a good girl. I got my degree. I was a teacher at the time. I was basically a virgin until I was married. I was the first person, who I ever had sex with. And I did all of these things, had my son. And I was just like, what the F? Like, still unhappy.
Like, got to be more to it than this.
Right, exactly. Like, I'm miserable, right? It has to be more to my life than doing and pleasing everybody else. So for me, I went, I left my marriage. I got the courage through a lot of soul searching and turmoil. I left my marriage and I went on a journey to awaken the goddess within me, because I realized that, at this time I'm like 27, 28, in my late 20s. been with only one man my entire life. And I realized that how can I know what I want in a partner if I don't know myself, right? How can I become the woman that I know I'm meant to become if I don't even know me, right? If I don't explore me. And I realized I could not do it in the container of that relationship, in that marriage. So I left. And this is where I went on my journey to awaken my goddess energy and find the goddess in me, connect to sacred sexuality. I realized that you can be sexual and spiritual at the same time. And
Right.
doesn't negate the other. Yeah,
I commend you for having the courage to leave still in your 20s. You know, I'm sure your son was young, you were young, and as a good girl, and I understand the good girl because I'm a recovering good girl myself. I think I used to be a goody two shoes. Maybe I have some socks now. I threw both shoes away. But to do that and then to end up where you are now is really amazing. So I want to commend you because I know that wasn't easy. That yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. You used a term, the Afrocentric nun, and I laugh at that because I think of the women who I know who, when you think you get into your cultural, your Afrocentricity, but it could still be very male centered.
Yes.
You know, it can still be very not you centered. And we're thinking that, you know, I'm cultural, I'm this, I got my head wrapped. But again, where are you in that? You just traded one thing, Christianity, for another, and you still weren't there. So that's amazing.
Like that box, you know, you went from one box to the other.
You know,
because we have the tendency to recreate those same conditions, even when we leave, you know, go from one tradition to the other. So you're still acting like a Christian.
Yeah. No matter where you go, there you are.
Right. Like this is the cultural garb and everything like that. The judgment is still there. The shame is still there.
Shame
is still there. The patriarchy is still there.
Yes, that part. So let me ask you this question. How do you define sacred sexuality? And what do you believe are the crucial aspects of personal empowerment and liberation that are inherent in sacred sexuality? How do you separate that from just sex or just being demure? You know, that's a word that's going around now. Demure.
So for me, sacred sexuality, the way I define it is that we see sex and sexual energy as important and vital to our being in the same way that we see, you know, our mental health, our emotional well-being, our physical well-being, our spiritual well-being, that our sexual well-being is as important as all those things, right? And we don't have to put the sexual energy on the back burner. And that actually we can use our sexual energy as a channel for healing and as a channel for liberation. And that sexual energy in its nature, right, really is creative and sacred energy. And when we learn to channel that energy, that we can use it to heal ourselves and to heal others. And that's basically how I define it. And I will also say in that definition, it's something, because I think sometimes when people think, oh, sacred sex, I need to have a partner, right? Like I have to do this with somebody else. If I'm single now, then, you know, I can't practice sacred sex. And that's very untrue. Many of the practices that I learn and I teach also are actually solo practices, right? There's things that you learn to do with yourself. And there's, it's a way of really approaching life, right? Of your body. That has nothing to do with anybody else. And it's kind of like the person, if you do have a partner, right, you do partner with someone, they're coming into a space where the environment, right, the temple has already been created, and they're coming and they're going to benefit from that. But is, they, of course, they bring their own gifts and energy, but really it's about you, right? It's really focused and centered upon you and your own connection to your body and your sexual energy. There was another question you said, and I don't remember what it was.
No, I mean, what you said was amazing, and you're right in line with that. Seeing sex as a battery of creativity and sex as being something that's for you, even with or without a partner, just understanding that it's a divine gift is what I'm hearing you say. Absolutely. I asked initially about pussy power too, understanding the power that we innately have as the womb holders. We're sitting on these amazing portals. We didn't grow up knowing that. that kind of close your legs, be quiet, da 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 da. That's not saying that you are the holder of the womb. It's saying, like, make yourself small. That's how I heard it, and it wasn't just coming from family, because family got that message from other places too. So our mothers heard that same message. So healing through all of that, and now understanding the concept of the power that we hold as the divine feminine. How do you define pussy power? Now, maybe some folks, I feel like everybody knows Lady Shepsa, and we just jumped into this. Tell the people who you are as it relates to sacred sexuality, and then answer the question about pussy power. What is that?
Yes. So Lady Shepsa Jones, founder of Let Go Let Goddess, which is my coaching business, and sacred sexuality coach, divine feminine energy awakener, healer, author, mama, juju woman, all of those things. So how I define pussy power, oh my goodness. And I feel like this is a topic I've definitely been getting more into in these latter years. As I feel like, number one, so many people are just afraid of the word pussy, and I think sometimes when we get like really spiritual and like, we get like, we don't want to use
we get too high for our own self. Like, oh my God, I can't say these things.
Exactly. And it's like the word pussy in itself is subversive, which I really love that. So I define pussy power really as like the raw, primal, creative, sexual energy that all women have, that we are born with, that actually is, I would say, a microcosm that connects to the macrocosm of the divine feminine energy in the universe, right? So it's like our own personal temple and shrine to the goddess that we have within our own body. And for me, I experienced that. And on Tantra, we say it's Shakti, right? It's literally the energy that animates the universe. That without us, without this divine feminine energy, without this pussy power, wouldn't nothing be here. Like,
right. We created all, y'all. You're welcome.
Okay. All of this. So that's what I see as pussy power, just that raw primal energy. And I think that a lot of us as women have been divorced from that energy. We've been taught to, like you said, shame, close your legs, right? Don't be fast. That was a word, I know we heard a lot growing up. Oh, that girl fast, a little fast tail girl, and not just saying that, that we should be overexposing children to sexual, whatever, but
age appropriate.
Right, of course, but you're not taught to see it as something powerful and sacred. You're taught to see it as something that you should be ashamed of and you should hide and, repress. Yeah.
It's so funny that you said fast, because as a little girl, and a lot of children are very literal. And when I was called fast, I didn't even know what they meant by that. I knew they were saying it in a bad way, but I'm thinking fast like running a race. Like I'm supposed to, that's what I thought. Like as 8 years old, they say don't be fast. I'm like, but I'm trying to win, right? I'm trying to win. But they say these things to you as a child with the thought that you understand what they're saying, what they mean. I knew that they were meaning it in a negative way, but how I understood what they were saying was not what they meant. The idea of this power, this innate primal power that we have, coupled with the experience that a lot of African Americans have had in this country historically, and really not just African Americans, it's really just the country in general. Like if you think of sexual shame, you think of repression, which is what the good girl syndrome does, because it teaches you to hide, because now you can't ask questions because that's rude or wrong or not good or not proper or not correct. So you tend to shut down. And then the cultural or history of sexual abuse and, incest and things like this that happen in family that also kind of shroud that beautiful primal energy that's just innate in all of us, that then perhaps we may shy away from. How do you work with your clients around these issues? As I talk to more and more people, I find just about everybody has some kind of experience with something. If not them, then somebody very close to them.
Absolutely. So the first step that I always take my clients through, the women in my coaching programs, is clearing. And I know you're familiar with that process, right? So the idea is that, if if you have a container, right, and there's something in that container, and let's say the water is muddy or whatever like that, right, and it's in that container, before you put clean water in there, you need to dump that container out, right? You need to clean that container,
rinse it out.
rinse it out. Okay. So the first step I usually do with my clients is really to clear, and there's different processes that I use to do that. I'm a big Taoist practitioner, so I use a lot of qigong, using different, I use sound healing, a lot of meditation, working with herbs, yoni steaming, and things like that. So the first thing we have to do, actually, even before, I think first we have to acknowledge what happened, right? Because I think, and it's so interesting, is when you grow up in a society, in a community where people don't actually talk about trauma, right? Now it's very different because everybody's talking about trauma. But growing up, there was no conversation about that, especially for Black people. It was no conversation about trauma, healing, therapy, none of that. It was just like, if you go to therapy or whatever, you crazy, right? And I ain't crazy, so I ain't going.
And for men, they were dying from the lynchings and things. Like the worst thing that happened to the girl is she got raped, but she survived, so you all right, and they kind of brushed it under the rug. It was that kind of
right
attitude.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so much of it's just about survival, right? Like, you survive, we here, now we gotta pay these bills, right? And it's about really just surviving. So first we have to really acknowledge what we've experienced, what we've gone through. We have to investigate what is the energies that's in our womb, right? That's in our bodies, these foreign energies that we don't want to be there, and then we have to clear them out. So that's the first step that I take my clients through. And then after that, then we can nourish ourselves, and then we can pour it in, and then we can love in ourselves. And a lot of the work that I do is very somatic, is very embodied, is there are actual practices that we do. Because I think, particularly, if you have been the good girl, right? You've been that upwardly mobile Black woman, we can be very intellectual, right? And we're trained to be very intellectual, and we can have an intellectual understanding of something, but until it gets into our body, it doesn't really matter, right? So I have, certain practices that we do in my program, like I mentioned, the qigong. We do a lot of massage. I work with the yoni egg. Just a lot of practices that help us to actually get it into our bodies and to feel our bodies, because a lot of us are numb.
Yes.
We don't even feel. So part of the path of Tantra and sacred sexuality is really actually learning to sensitize ourselves, because we have become so desensitized. And particularly as Black women, we're trained to, what am I? I'm the strong Black woman. We take, that was a stereotype that was put on us, but a lot of us have taken that on and
adopted that. Yeah.
Adopted it. Of course. Yeah, yes, we are strong, right? We our ancestors, our mothers, our grandmothers, if they were not resilient, we literally would not be here, because we would not have survived the onslaught of oppression that we have experienced. But something that has been detrimental to us because of the strong Black woman stereotype is a disassociation from our emotions, right? Our sadness, our grief, the loss that we have experienced, the traumas, and we have to feel that, right? And if we don't feel that, then we can't release it.
Right.
So much of it is really about learning to just connect to our feelings, our emotions, and to our body.
Do you think people are afraid to feel because it is so awesome? I've been having my head in the sand on this my whole life, and now you want me to feel this. I want you to feel it so you can heal it. I want you to feel it so you can hear your body. I want you to feel it so that you can connect back to your power, is what I hear you saying.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if it's not, first of all, acknowledged, you don't have the awareness that it's there. Right? If you don't feel it, then you can't release it. And then one of my teachers taught me, she said, to be multi-emotional is to be multi-orgasmic. So when we, especially as women, as these water beings, right? these lunar beings that we are, we're meant to feel. Like feeling is actually our superpower. This is where our intuition
I'm a
comes.
Cancer, so I'm with you in that water.
I'm a Pisces, so
Yes, baby.
mermaids, right? So when we desensitize ourselves, not only do we lose our connection with ourselves and our emotions, but we also lose our connection with our intuition, right? With that inner goddess who wants to speak to us, who can actually tell us like something wrong. Go this way.
Superpower. Yeah, our superpower.
So yeah, when we become too much in our head, too much into the masculine, we lose a lot of that. And I think that's happened to a lot of us. So yeah, I think a lot of us are afraid to feel, because then I gotta feel
all of that.
all the things.
But you don't have to feel all the things forever, because it's a moving thing,
Yes.
it's moving. But
Yes.
when you hold or you brace yourself, then you're really stuck.
Yes.
You're like stuck in that place as that little girl, or in that trauma that really has you locked. I like to say I'm strong and I'm soft, so I don't get stuck in the strong Black woman thing. It's like, no, I'm soft. I can't pick that up. Come on.
Right.
I'm a mother of 3 sons too. So I call them to get the groceries, like, come get this, come carry this and they'll just come, because I want the balance there. I want the balance.
Yes.
When I think about my sisters who are angry, like we come across a lot of women who are just angry. And I know on the other side of that anger really is a lot of pain and a lot of fear. And what we're offering with our goddess work is really, it's like the doors of the goddess church are now open. Sister, don't you want to put that pain down? Sister,
burdens down.
You want to heal? Don't you want these multiple orgasms? Sister, don't you want your magic? Come on, you can't hold both of these things. You got to let go here, so you can pick up your magic that you got over there just waiting for you, waiting for you.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so the role of self-love and acceptance, what role do you see those things playing in the journey from shame? Because most of those things we talked about, the intergenerational trauma and seeing sex as something less than sacred, when we all were born out of our mothers and our grandmother's sensuality. I mean, literally, everyone came from a womb. Even if you came from a test tube, they got that stuff from a womb. So still, you came from a womb, the womb of the mother. As we look at self-love and acceptance to this journey from shame to liberation, how can we cultivate these qualities? What you talked about, qigong and yoni steam, and a lot of really good things using the Taoism and the clearing, of course.
Yes.
What do you see the acceptance and self-love? How do you see that as an intersection into this process of getting?
Yes. Oh, it's so important. Like, to choose to heal, right? Or to choose to be on a healing journey is an act of self-love, right? That in itself is a self-love practice. And so much of it, is just making the choice, right? And really the choice is to choose yourself. And I think we as women, particularly Black women, have not been taught to choose ourselves. We've been taught to uphold the race and uphold the family and, sacrifice and do things for other people. But I think that the first step for self-love really is full self-acceptance, right? Part of that good girl, people pleaser complex. And, of course, this is something I still heal and I still release all the time, is that perfectionism syndrome, right? We want to be perfect in that judgment. So a lot of times we can be judgmental of other people, right? When you're on this like really rigid kind of stuck path, but we often are usually first judgmental with ourselves. And we don't have compassion for ourselves because in our community, weakness, being too emotional, being too this, being that is seen as a weakness. So I think the first step really is having self-forgiveness and self-compassion. And that can be very challenging in a world where, particularly as Black women, we're not shown the same compassion as other races and definitely other, groups of women, other cultures, right? So we have to give it to ourselves because we can't expect people to give it to us. So giving ourselves that self-forgiveness and that compassion.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, many of the practices that we do in my coaching, like the breast massage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Learning to like touch ourselves.
Right.
That in itself is an act of self-love.
Right.
It's the act of reclaiming your body for yourself and your pleasure for yourself. So for me, all of it is really like it. The key to it really is self-love.
Self-love. Self-love is everything.
Yeah.
And how do you see transforming and embracing sacred sexuality transforming other areas of our lives? Some people who really still have this block around sexuality, they want to put it in a box and act like it doesn't exist. And it's like, well, everything else is fine. It's like, but it's not though. It,
Right.
it, it, it connects to everything, your creativity, your relationships, your overall well-being. Just speak a little bit on that, like why the sex thing is so key. And when you have trauma that is just stuck there, it's
Yeah.
still key that is poisoning your whole life.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it, you know, goes back to what you just said, that it is the source of your creative energy.
Mm-hmm.
Period. If you think about how is a human being born? How do they
Mm-hmm.
come into existence? How does creation happen?
Right.
Creation literally happens through sexual energy, right? Through the copulation of a male and a female, you know, traditionally. I mean, there's
Right.
other ways people do things now, but
Right.
you know, through a male and female coming together and having sex, right? It literally is creative energy. And that creative energy comes through sex, but it's also the same creative energy that animates the entire universe. It's the same energy that moves through the plants and the flowers and the
Mm-hmm.
wind
And
and
the animals and the birds and the bees, like they say.
all of it. All of it. So when that energy, when that creative energy is suppressed in your own body, then your body will rebel, then your womb will rebel. And I believe part of this, you know, along with, of course, unhealed trauma, is the reason why so many women have womb issues and fibroids and things like that, is we think that, you know, we're okay because maybe we're have worldly success, you know, on the outside, but our body, how's your body? How's your womb? You know, because one of the things I like to say is like your womb is like a diagnostic tool. It
Mm.
lets you know how you are connecting with your feminine energy. If you want to know how you're connecting with your feminine energy, look at your womb health and look at your menstrual cycle, right? How much are you bleeding? Are you in pain? You know, are you dealing with endometriosis? Are you dealing with fibroids? Are you dealing with these things? That tells you, it gives you it's a reflection, you know, of how you're connecting to your feminine energy. So we have to, you know, just recenter ourselves so that we can bring those things back into balance.
So, what would you tell a woman who is dealing with heavy bleeding and endometriosis and fibroids? Because again, we know many, many sisters are dealing with these conditions. And
Yeah.
if you listen to the news and you listen to the doctors, they'll put it on, oh, just being a Black woman, you have more of this, you have more of that. I really don't listen to them like that. You know what I mean? Like I use them as a means to help me see what's physically going on, but then I go to my herbs and my energy and those kinds of things to
Mhm.
handle it. But what would you tell a woman who is really thinking that it's just physical and not understanding that it's so much more that's informing the physical?
Mm, mm, mm. She has to get in touch with her body and have a conversation with her womb. That's the first thing I would say. You
Mm-hmm.
know, that's one of the practices that we do in my programs. But like literally, you know, you can put your hands on your womb. You can put one hand on your heart, one hand on your womb, and just go within and check in
Mm-hmm.
with your body. And your womb will talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Let's do it right now. Let's have a conversation with our wombs right now. Show us how to do it. What are you saying to your womb right now?
all right. So the first thing is just to connect, right? So just with your hand. And for me, because I'm right-handed, my left hand is on my heart, which is my receiving hand. My
Mm-hmm.
right hand is on my womb space, right? So underneath my belly button. Can't see because of the camera, but that's
Mm-hmm.
so I'm gonna just first of all close my eyes and just become present. Like how does it feel? You know? And we can't divorce the womb from the heart, and I don't have time to totally go into that, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, the womb and the heart, they're on the same pole in our body, right? They're on the same axis, the same meridian, same channel. So there's a deep connection to our heart and our womb space. So just feel what's present. You know, for me right now, I got my hand on my heart. I have a lot of tenderness right now in my heart. You know, this month has been a little challenging for me in certain ways. So I feel just like that emotion is very present in my heart. you can you can use sound to release anything that's there, and just allow yourself to be present. And then you can travel down to your womb, where for me that's where my right hand is, which is my dominant hand, and just become present. Just allowing yourself to sink inside your body, to sink inside your womb. And as you sink deeper and deeper, just ask your womb to reveal herself to you. Ask her voice to become present. And as you do that, just notice anything that you feel, anything that you see. Maybe you see an image, it could be a color, it could be an animal, it could be a crystal. Just tune in. And as you're breathing in, make sure you're breathing deeply into your belly, allowing the belly to expand, and allowing yourself to sink just deeper, deeper into your womb space. And allow your womb to give you a message. And like I said, it could come in an image, it could come in a feeling and a sensation. It could come in a color. Just allow yourself to feel into that now. And as you feel into your womb, feel this connection between your heart and your womb, allowing the love from your heart to pour into your womb. Your dominant hand on your womb space, your less dominant hand on your heart, allowing that love to overflow from your heart into your womb. Smile to your womb, smile to your heart. Give thanks for whatever you have received. And whenever you are ready, you can open your eyes.
Thank you. That was very beautiful.
Thank you.
I felt my womb say, "Hey, girl, hey." She's very happy. She's very happy and tapped in. I felt green. I love pouring the love from my heart to my womb. So I felt the green energy of the heart pouring down to my womb, just life giving, and the womb was accepting and receiving that. Like, oh, I like it. She liked it. She's like, oh, thank you. You know.
Yes,
and then I saw a fox. I saw a fox with a fuzzy tail. So I have to look up whatever the total meaning is of those animals. And sisters, as you really get into your magic and you start awakening to your intuition and things, don't question the things that come up. Just get curious about it. You know, don't doubt it and say it doesn't mean anything. Get curious. And the internet does give us a lot of access to materials and information right at our fingertips. So check some things out, see what resonates with you, and just, you know, journal it and make that be a something.
Yeah, I love that. I saw a diamond.
A diamond. Go ahead, diamond girl. Diamond fox. That's us.
Yes. Diamond, foxy diamond.
Oh, that's yummy. So yummy. What advice would you give someone just beginning their journey to embrace their sexuality and to overcome shame that the culture just hands out? when you're born. You know, like, here you are, welcome, your birth certificate and your sexual shame, you know.
Right, exactly. You've been cursed. You've been cursed. The first thing, when you ask the question, what came to me is get support.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we, particularly as Black women, feel like we have to do everything on our own because we have been trained to do everything on our own. We have been trained to not depend upon nobody, right? Like, you better not depend upon nobody. Don't depend upon no man. You know, like, we're taught to be hyper independent. And it's understandable why, right? Like, we understand why we're raised that way. Um, but it creates this. I mean, hyper independence is a trauma response, right? We
Mm-hmm.
have been let down and disappointed so much. However, in this day and age, we don't have to carry all of that, and
Mm-hmm.
we don't have to carry it by ourselves. So I would say get support, whether that means, if right now all you can afford is a book, you know, you get some books, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want to, people love YouTube and looking up things online. Start there, and then I do think it's important to find teachers, healers, and folks to work with, like mentors and guides. I mean, that's something that was very important and very vital to me. That still was important and vital to me, because this Western culture is very I, me. I'm on a solo journey. I'm doing this thing by myself. And it's like, yes, we are on our own journey, right? And we have to, be accountable, of course, to ourselves. However, we can lean on and get support. We don't have to carry the burden by ourselves. So I would say, begin to seek out support, seek out resources so that you don't feel like you have to do it all by yourself, because you don't. You don't
Mm-hmm.
do it by yourself.
I'm so glad you said that, because for me as well, the journey with really good teachers and the journey with really learning myself helped me understand why I responded in certain ways to certain situations, and to have more compassion for myself, for
Yeah.
my mother, for my grandmother, like just the journey that it took me to get here. So
Mhm.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. Start where you are. And there's
Yeah.
always something that you can do that gets you to a little bit better feeling place than you are.
Right. Exactly.
Yes. So, Lady Shepsa, I do Bagua readings, and I'm sure you remember Bagua astrology. And,
Yes.
and so I pulled your Bagua today, and you may already know this, but
Girl,
so
no. I mean, I haven't. I know some things about Bagua. It's not something I work with closely.
okay. Well, I'm
Yeah.
happy to share. So, as we are talking about really being a scientist of yourself and understanding our baseline energies, it
Mhm.
just helps us as we are
Yeah.
progressing through these journeys. And
Yeah.
so, Bagua is a numerology that uses your birthday and your birthplace, like where you were born, time of year, and it talks about the energy for your mind, your spirit, and your body, just baseline. That
Mm.
being said, your mind is peacekeeper.
Mm.
And what it says about peacekeepers, peacekeepers fight for the underdog, whether the underdog is a person who doesn't have what they need, or someone losing an argument, or if the underdog is a philosophical position, you'll find the peacekeeper drawn to support them. I see that in you, just in terms of just, you're like, listen, I'm at peace. And peace is Obatala energy. Peace is like, we
Mhm.
come into peace. Okay. We need to have
Mhm.
balance in the universe. And I
Mhm.
see you as that, you
Yeah.
know.
Thank you.
Now, the other two is amazing, which is lover, and lover is Oshun energy. Okay,
Hey, I want some lover. Tell
I
me about
know. So
that.
you have a lover spirit, and a lover will
Mm.
oftentimes feel like being in a romantic, lovey-dovey mood. They revel in their own beauty and creativity and the ability to relate so well in life. And we know you with all that sweet Oshun energy. Oshun is your mama, and she just got honey all over you.
Yes.
And your body is also an Oshun body. And so our body, like we talked about living from the neck up in terms of how we were taught in school, but this practice of really feeling yourself invites us to embody a process. Okay. So a lover body, what that means is lover bodies tend to have lower metabolisms and can accumulate calories from lower physical activity. The level of physical sensitivity tends to be on the low side. This is just baseline. But you as a massage therapist, and you as Oshun, in this respect, I see you as So what this means, lovers like to chill. They like folks bringing stuff to them. You think of Oshun, she laying up, letting Ogun bring her plate of pineapple and oranges and honey. You know what I mean? She's not trying to be breaking nails out there chopping wood. So that's what this is saying. Oshun wants to chill and be treated like the princess and, you know, the sacred energy that she is. So I see that. I see lover body, lover spirit, and peacekeeper mind. So I'm greeting you.
The peacekeeper part I knew, but I didn't know the other part. So you can send that to me. I would love
I sure will. So you have a lot of feminine energy naturally in you. Lover is feminine, but she is also dominant in her femininity. Peacekeeper is neutral across the board. Peacekeeper is right in the middle of the pantheon, and peacekeeper is androgynous and neutral. But so you have lover, and then you have dominant energy, and you have neutral energy. So androgynous, neutral. I'm happy to send that to you.
Yes, I love it. Which one are you? Now I'm curious.
Okay, so I am a visionary mind, and visionary is that fairy energy. Visionary, yes, is Mayat, and she is androgynous, but she's leaning feminine. So you think of the visionary Mayat, you know, she is Lady Justice, but she is also strategy. My spirit is devotee. Devotee is the queen energy, and the devotee is feminine, but she is submissive. Like she does well functioning inside of a system. And then my body is soldier energy. So I have a soldier body, and they tend to be very physical. So physicality is definitely a part of soldier body, and soldier bodies are about the mission. So when you see me in my dance and all the things that I do, you know, I'm about that business. And in terms of the way I can work myself is because a soldier gets on a mission and they're going forward. So soldier is masculine energy, but it's leaning, it is submissive. Okay, so soldier is submissive to the leader. The leader is giving the soldier orders, and then the soldier's carrying them out. So this is a numerology. This is a technology that helps us understand our baseline energy. We all have all the energies at different places, and they intersect and, you know, interchangeably. So when people are like, "Ooh, you masculine," think, no, we're all masculine. We're all feminine. It has nothing to do with our genitalia. It's energy. It's energy. So that's me. I have androgynous, feminine, and masculine energy all wrapped into one, right? Little package known as a demon.
Yes, I love it.
Yes. So I love to share that. That's one thing I work with my clients on, is just using that technology to help them to help us all understand who we're dealing with. So as we're dealing with our parents, understanding their energy, our children, our mates, okay. So we see how we come together, where we are paired, where we are can naturally be compatible, so we can work on other skills as we're dealing with, based on energy. So I found it to be a very helpful technology for me personally in my life, and adding to some peacekeeper that comes to me naturally. I have to work on my peacekeeper. Like, okay, peacekeeper. Ooh, let my soul soldier stand down. Relax.
Yes, I hear that.
Yes. Okay, so last question I want to ask you, because we get ready to dance. So before we dance, I want to ask you, how do you envision the future of feminine empowerment and the role of sacred sexuality in shaping a more liberated and harmonious world? Like, as we come into our pussy power, and more women are understanding who we are innately, who we were born to be, knowing ourselves as the creator, knowing that we sit on these portals, knowing that we made all of this. What do you see happening? Like, as we look at politics and all these other things and get upset, it's like, listen, we're creators now.
Come on.
We're the creators. Turn it off.
Right? Let that shit fall.
Our divine creator, let it roll. What do you see?
So, as you were a speaker on the Black Goddess Awakening Summit, so part of what my ancestors and my spirit guides have been sharing with me, and part of what I would like to do, and what I think we need as women, is we need to bring back our communities, right? Our secret societies. I love that word, right? Because that's a lot of what it was. If you look at, I'm going to use Africa, but I know this wasn't in Africa, of course. But, if you look at, life in Africa prior to colonization, and still exists today, what happened was that at a certain age, the young men would go away, and they would go into the forest, the wood, the jungle, whatever.
Rites of passage.
Yeah, their manhood training, their rites of passage. The women would go away, and they would do their training, and they would learn what it meant to be a woman in that particular society. They would learn the secrets. And there were, tribes that the women kept these societies going on, even as they left, even as, they came back to the village, got married, had children, whatever. They still had these communities and these secret societies where they would come and be nourished and nourish other women. So I think that is, in my vision and my hope, this is where we need to go, right? Where we need to be. We need to bring back these communities where we felt empowered as women, where we learned, where we were seen as women, where we could exchange our medicine and our goddess secrets, where we can support each other as women. I feel like that's where we need to go. And from there, as they say, heal a woman, heal a nation. From there, we are strengthened and we're empowered to go out and to heal our communities and to be that light and to be that divine feminine energy. But the reason why so many of us have a hard time doing that is because we are malnourished, because we are not supported, because we're not sharing medicine with each other. We're just going to work and taking care of kids and coming home, and we're exhausted all the damn time. And the way this Western society and world is set up, it is sick. It's set up to make us sick. That is the whole point. And except, we're meant here, we're brought here to be beasts of burden, to work, capitalism, all of that, right? So we have to begin by taking our power back, by forming communities, groups where we can support each other, learn from each other, nourish ourselves, and be fed. And this is what I try to do in my coaching programs. I know you do this in your work with your travel and your retreats and things like that. We need these sacred spaces literally for our survival. So this is where I see us, bringing back a lot of what those rights that our ancestors had, that they knew. This is, we're talking about thousands of years old, communities, if not hundreds of thousands of years old, where, we can learn something from what our ancestors did that allowed them to thrive and to survive, for so long. We need to come together. We need to come together and heal, be joyful, laugh, cry, celebrate, be mad, all of those things. We need sacred space to do that.
That is amazing. Thank you, my love. Well, my darling, we are at the sacred place of our time together where we're going to shake a booty. We're going to shake a booty. So let me put this music on and we're going to take a moment to do some. Okay, come on now. Okay. All of that. She had all that to say. So let's stand up and let's just give us a little hip circle as we. Circle hips. Circle. 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 That place of power right there. Hey. Yes. You created it all. Little whole circle with your whole body. Yes. What? Uh-huh. Yes. We know who we are, yo. Lady Shepsa. It's been so much fun talking with you today.
It's a pleasure.
Tell the people how they can reach you, what you have coming up. I know you have a retreat in Ghana happening this year. Share information on how people can reach you.
All right. So I am Let Go, Let Goddess on everything. I keep it simple. Let Go, Let Goddess on Instagram. Let Go, Let Goddess on Facebook. Let Go, Let Goddess.com is my website. So coming up, I have two things. First of all, if you are watching this live, which is what, Tuesday, January 28th, I am going to actually have a free masterclass tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
So if you want to attend that, send it out to my email list.
Okay.
But if you want to attend that, just DM me and I'll make sure you get the Zoom link for that. The title of that is Fortified, because we got to fortify ourselves right now. 5 ways that Black women can protect themselves and nourish themselves, in this current environment that we're in. But what I have coming up in terms of coaching programs, I have my Queen Coaching Program, which begins February 9th. And that is a 13-week sacred sexuality and goddess initiation for Black women exclusively. And I take you through a whole process using a lot of the tools and techniques I talked about today to help you to awaken to your divine feminine power and to walk into your queendom as a Black woman. I also have a retreat coming up in September, and I'm just like so excited for that in Ghana. This will be my second retreat in Ghana in Accra. It'll be September 5th through the 12th. So right now, I'm holding priority spots for women in Queen. So if you join Queen, you get a priority spot for the Ghana retreat. But if you're interested in the retreat, just definitely follow me on Instagram. You can DM me. So when the website is up, I can share that information with you. But yes, it is an 8-day, 7-night retreat in Ghana because we are serious about, connecting to our culture. And I've been like, Ghana is such a fun place. It's fun, it's healing, it's ancestral, like it's all the things. So if you want to come and have a healing, cultural, ancestral, and fun experience, join the retreat in Ghana.
That's amazing. Thank you, Lady Shepsa. Thank you, everyone, for watching. If you're interested, the links for all that Lady Shepsa offers are below. But like she said, Let Go, Let Goddess you can find her on everything at that. Yes. Let Go, Let Goddess. Going to Ghana. Yeah, hit her up. Also, you can hit me up, Adina Gittens-Smith with Goddess Technology. We're going to Bali in August. You can do both. You can go to Bali and then come to Ghana in September. Hello, we can get all this sacred love and wisdom and activation because that's what we are about. My sister, I appreciate this sacred time with you. Shri Matre Namaha. You are honored. Your work is everything, and it is appreciated. Much love to you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.